Do these tools cost anything?
They're free versions.
So both are free versions.
Yeah,
Awesome.
we have used the, I think there's like a business version. It's not prohibitive, the cost, but
Okay.
the free versions work well too.
Great. All right, next, Radhika Khetani from the Harvard School of Public Health, again, and talking about switching a little bit more to training. Let's see here. Okay.
Thanks. Hi, everyone. My name is Radhika. As Shannon Hosu, who gave a really nice talk on single cell, mentioned, I'm the training director at the Harvard Chan Bioinformatics Core. But I also wanted to point out, since these talks are short, that, of course, you know Shannon's here, I'm here. We also have our associate director, John Hutchinson, today during this meeting. He's here as well. If you have any questions, because Shannon gave a short talk, I'm giving a short talk. We would love to hear how you are doing things, but we are sharing how we do things at our core. So we would love to start a conversation, kind of, come find us. We'll try and come find you guys. We've talked a lot to people who work at bioinformatics cores, and it seems like, at least in my experience, when I've talked to people, training isn't something that people are able to dedicate as much time to or get as much funding for in the context of a course. So I just wanted to share sort of what we have done over the last 4.5, 5 years, and how it has worked out for us. So, as Shannon already mentioned, our core focuses on next-gen sequencing analysis, data analysis. We have a consulting and analysis services that we offer. This is a fee-for-service model, so we charge by the hour, very similar to what Bryn talked about. And we have different subsidies available for specific groups within the Harvard community. So if we have internal funding, for example, from Harvard Catalyst, if someone is associated with Harvard Catalyst, they get a subsidized rate. We give them a few free hours, things like that. Depends on which group they're associated with. So this is our consulting model. How does training fit into this? So for training, what we have is we have 3 of those same funders which provide us with FTEs, or full-time equivalents, dedicated for training only. They give us an idea of how many people we should train in a year. They give us an idea of how many workshops we should hold, sort of a thing, kind of what their expectations are, and we tell them what we can do to meet that. And so I'll talk a little bit more about kind of how these FTEs get split up in a few minutes. But first I wanted to talk a little bit also about the interplay between the consulting end and the training end. As I think all of you in this room who are interested in bioinformatics core probably know that there is interplay. So the training team and the training component in our group is very, very dependent on the consulting, because a lot of us do consulting, which is where we learn what best practices we should be using, what the upcoming technologies are, but also, in addition, we learn about what workshop topics we should be developing for next. Shannon showed you that really nice graph where we have had a surge in single-cell projects, which basically meant we were under pressure in a way to have a workshop where we were teaching our clients as well as other customers to do more single-cell analysis. So we just finished a workshop on Thursday, right before we left for Basel. So how does training inform consulting? So the workshops themselves are a form of outreach and community building. The training team, in addition, does outreach and community building as in its own kind of way. But in addition, any kind of materials we develop, the documentation we have, provides everybody at the core with resources for education. So we can pass it on to clients, we can use it for onboarding new people, and we kind of, this kind of back and forth has been very, very important, at least for our core, in how we interact with our clients and our community. So just a little bit more about the training program. Currently, we have 2.5 FTEs. Essentially, if you're not familiar with the FTE concept, that means the amount of funding we get, we can fund 2.5 people. So how does this work out? We are currently a 3-person teaching team. I've made it a 4-person team because we have a new person, as Shannon mentioned, joining on August 15th. So the 3-person teaching team, what we do is we train people on basic data skills and data management, in addition to applications of NGS data. On average, our team members on the teaching team spend about 66% of their time doing training-related activities, and the remaining time we spend on analysis, consults, and basically anything to do with developing best practices and things like that. Usually this 66% of our time is spent because we do about 3 workshops a month, and this comes out to between 3.5 to 5 or 6 days a month of in-person hands-on training. And in addition to that, we also work with faculty members, and we teach with faculty members. If they're teaching a course on something and they need someone to come in and do the basics of R, we go in, we collaborate, and we are doing a short section for a 4-credit graduate level course. It's usually graduate level courses so far. In addition, all of that time, 66% is a lot of time, what we do is we spend time on material development. So we are constantly updating our materials to make sure that we are not teaching things that are outdated or things that are not very, we want to be as current as we can be. We organize everything on our own. The team is involved in some of the administration, outreach, community building, which I already mentioned. So that's how we spend this time. And it helps to have the dedicated kind of focus on training, so we are able to do this, and we don't have to prioritize something else over teaching every single time we have to prioritize. Just a quick idea of what methods we use and what our goals are for the training program. We want people to come to these programs and become as independent as they can be. Even if they cannot be completely independent to do data analysis on their own, we want them to come to the workshop and learn the best practices for experimental design and the names of methods or jargon associated with it so they can talk to us better. In addition, what we want them to be able to do is everything we teach in our workshops, we want it to be available to them so they can revise it well after they've attended a workshop or a course with us. So just a quick highlights of methods. We have very small class sizes. We prefer to have 25 to 30 students with 3 instructors. So that's 1 instructor for every 7 or 10 students. We feel very strongly about having this ratio. We try to make sure that incoming students know exactly what to expect from the workshop to help them determine whether this is going to be something up to their skill level or not. So we try to make it have as many similar level students in the class. We use local research computing resources for continuity. So we don't want students to get out of the workshop and not be independent because now they have learned something on Galaxy or they've learned something on this very specialized environment, and now they have to learn how to do it again on this other system. So we try to keep it, and this becomes technically challenging, but we have a good relationship with the research computing folks at HMS. Our materials are on GitHub. All of our training materials are freely available, open to anyone on GitHub. This makes access easy for students and anyone else who wants to use it, but also makes it super easy for the training team to collaborate on material development as well as update and stay current with our lessons. So that's all I have. So we'll have maybe more questions during discussion, but also we can talk throughout the workshop. Come find us. I'll be at the Education COSI on Wednesday. I just wanted to highlight the training team members, Meeta Mistry and Mary Piper. They're awesome, and hopefully you'll get to meet them someday. So, thanks.